Okay, I didn't really have much time to get ready today because I have a lot of shit to do, so we're going minimal makeup. I also need to turn Shameless off. Wow, it's so bright. I have about 4 million things to do today, and this video goes up in 2 days. I never film this late in the game. I am always like weeks ahead. You guys know this. I literally film like a year ahead of time, so I'm stressed right now because I have 2 days to get this video up. Not that that's hard. Like, I could totally film, edit, and upload a video in the same day, but I don't like doing that, so this is not okay for me. So I barely did my makeup, which I also never do. I always do my makeup for videos. And we're just gonna read the story. I figured I'm gonna be looking down the whole time. You guys don't need to watch my face for this video, so who cares what I look like? I don't know if you guys are gonna be like, you look fine, you look good, whatever. Okay, I get it. Let me point out my insecurities. I also have to pull up the story. I don't really think to do that. Okay, so this is going to be the last 3 parts to the deep web kidnapping. Liz's point of view. The man with the machete led me to his car, ignoring my desperate attempts to escape. He opened the door to the back seat, removed the cloth from my mouth, and tossed the machete onto the middle seat. Well, that was stupid of him, I thought, as he barked at me to get in the car. He does realize I can just pick it up and kill him, right? I did as I was told, and I sat in the back of the car. Surprisingly, the man didn't restrain my arms or legs. As the man circled the car to get to the driver's seat, I took the opportunity to pick up the machete. It was plastic. The man opened up the door and began laughing at me. Pretty cool, huh? He said like I was some sort of old friend of his. I bought it at a Halloween store a few months back. He would not believe how many people it's fooled. I sighed. There goes my escape plan. The man reached to the base of his neck and pulled off the mask. I was expecting some sort of disfigured monster to be under there, but it ended up being the opposite. This guy was like really attractive. He had thick brown hair and bright blue eyes. He flashed his perfect white teeth and chuckled. Surprised? Who are you? I asked, not letting my guard down for a single second. He sat down and started the car. Just call me C. He began driving away from the apartment complex towards Seattle. I noticed how he kept glancing back at me every few seconds through the rearview mirror. It was almost as if he was reading my mind or something. Are you gonna hurt me? I whimpered. C rolled his eyes. If your boyfriend can't manage to beat the game I've set up for him, then you'll die. But until then, no harm will come to you. Okay, I replied, unsure of what to say next. Why are you so angry at Todd? He did what I despise the most, C replied, not missing a beat. He said things I'm not sure he would have ever said in real life. Like, what? He said the selection in my cannabis store sucked. I buried my face in my hands. Todd could be a real moron sometimes. Is there anything I can do to make it up to you? I asked, as nicely as possible. Behave for the next couple of days, C said. I can't tell you how many of the girls I've captured caused a fuss. I even had to lie and say I had a crazy sister who visits once a month. I do this once a month, by the way, to treat myself. People in my apartment building even make terrible jokes about my imaginary sister, and I have to laugh along just to keep up my image. What exactly is your image? I'm a model, he said, changing lanes so he could get off the next exit. Not to brag or anything, but I make a lot of money. So why are you selling drugs? For the thrill of it. He pulled into the parking lot of his swanky condo building and motioned for me to get out of the car. I followed him inside and into the elevator. He clicked the button for the top floor and we began our ascent. So, how many times have you done this game thing? 15. You and Todd are the 16th. Has anyone ever beat you? Nope, he said proudly, and I don't intend for Todd to be the first. The elevator stopped. So I'm gonna die then. He began to walk down the hallway. Sounds like you don't have much confidence in your boyfriend. In this situation, absolutely not. C opened up the door to his condo to reveal a breathtaking view of Seattle. I couldn't help but admire the view. Would you like to see your room? He asked. I took a step backwards. I'm not so sure I want to do that. Relax. Like I said, I won't hurt you unless Todd loses, C said impatiently. Come on, it's just past the kitchen. The room looked like it was straight out of a magazine. It had a white dresser, a white bed on a platform, and a large flat-screen TV. My heart dropped when I noticed something very disconcerting on the wall. Pictures of 15 different women, all of them about my age. In all the pictures, they wore a forced smile, and I could tell some of them had been crying. Smile, C said, holding up a camera. I gave him the dirtiest look I could. Smile now, he roared. I gave the biggest grin I could. C seemed pleased. So Liz, there's a Titanic rerun coming on in a few minutes, C said. Would you care to watch it with me? Do I have a choice? No. So there I was, on C's couch, avoiding eye contact with him as much as I possibly could. He even had the audacity to be the dead horse that is, why didn't Jack just climb onto the door with Rose? There was definitely enough room for both of them. As the credits began to roll, C looked down at his phone, shook his head, and muttered something. Your boyfriend's an idiot. How so? He thought the capital of West Virginia was a West Virginia city. Oh, shit. C stretched out and let out a yawn. Well, get to bed. We have a busy day tomorrow. I gulped. What will we be doing? Didn't I already tell you? He asked. We're catching a plane to Maine. Why? Oh, I'll be meeting Todd there. I have to be present for him to be able to complete his final challenge, C said, walking towards my bedroom. Now would you quit asking questions and get over here? I have to lock you up for the night. I entered my temporary bedroom and shuddered when I heard him lock the door behind me. The room had no phone, which meant I couldn't call the cops. Conveniently, the room only had one small window, and since I was on the top floor of a very high building, I doubted anybody below would hear me if I screamed for help. There was a clean pair of polka dot pajamas in the dresser. I quickly changed into them and climbed into the unfamiliar bed. The minutes ticked away as I cried my eyes out. Why was this happening to me? I've done nothing wrong. Todd, you better pull through for me, I thought, burying my face into the pillow. It was gonna be a long, long night. So you don't have any luggage? I groaned with frustration. For the last time, I don't. My plane takes off in 10 minutes and it's very, very important that I make the flight, so can I go? The security guard raised an eyebrow. Listen, kid, I've worked here longer than you've been alive, and whenever I see somebody like you waltz into the airport, I become a little suspicious. Can't tell if that's racist or not. It's not what I meant, the security guard snapped. You smell like you haven't showered in a month, you're covered in dirt, there's a dead leaf in your hair, and you're traveling across the country without any luggage. So yeah, I'm a little suspicious. I shrugged. Fair point. Would it help if I said it was for love? I saw a smile peek out from the security guard's stoic expression. Depends. Give me the details. I pulled up a picture of Liz on my phone. It was taken the same day we went to the beach. She, Liz, is the love of my life, I said quietly. I knew I would have to make up something that sounded believable. She left me for a man who owns the Golden Corral. The saddest story I've ever heard, the security guard muttered sarcastically. How are you supposed to compete with a guy who owns a chain buffet? Right? I replied. That's why I have to make an emergency flight to Maine to beg for her love. Fine, the security guard said, crossing his arms. Have a nice flight, and good luck with the lady. I practically ran to the gate that my plane would be taking off at. The woman who accepted my ticket did so half-heartedly and told me my seat was in the very back of the plane. I thanked her and entered the plane. My seat was literally against the side of the bathroom. I was seated at the window, and beside me was a little girl and a concerned-looking mother. I offered them a friendly smile, to which the mother grabbed the child and put her on her lap. Well then, I thought. I slept for the first few hours of the flight, but woke up just in time to catch the ending of Titanic, the plane's in-flight film. So such a dumb ending, I said to the child beside me. They both could have climbed onto the door. The kid burst into tears. Mommy, the scary man is talking to me. I had to endure the glare of the mother for the rest of the flight. When the plane finally landed, I immediately typed the address that C. Corral had given to me in my phone. It was only 10 minutes away from the airport. I just landed in Maine, I texted C. Corral. I'm ready for my second challenge. Just go to the location I gave you and open the door with the key, he replied mere seconds later. I don't need to explain further than that. I told the taxi driver the address and he began to laugh. That's in a bad part of town. You know that, right? I do now. The taxi driver hadn't been lying. The place C. Corral wanted me to go was in an abandoned warehouse covered in graffiti. I paid the taxi driver and sent him on his way. There was a heavy padlock on the door. I placed the mysterious key into it and unlocked right away. I pushed open the heavy metal door and stepped inside. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. It was just an empty room the size of a football field. It took me a minute to find the small note on the floor that read, Hello, Todd. Welcome to hell. Your job is to make it to the door on the opposite side of this room without dying. Good luck. C. Corral. I dropped the note and took a step forward. I felt my foot trigger something and screamed as a bag of snakes fell from the ceiling and onto my head. There were about 10 garter snakes in the bag. One of them bit me, but I knew it wasn't poisonous enough to kill me. C. Corral wanted me to suffer longer than that. Suddenly, laughter filled the room. My eyes darted to a small loudspeaker mounted above the entrance. Well, well, well. Looks like you've discovered my funhouse. I hope you enjoy your stay. Out of nowhere, the lights changed to a blood-red color, and the loudspeaker began playing loud, terrifying screams. I shuddered. Those screams sound too real to be fake, I thought. I cautiously took another step forward. This time, an arrow shot out from the wall and missed my head by an inch. I instinctively ducked and managed to dodge about 10 more arrows. Why the hell did he put so much effort into this place? I thought, trying to catch my breath. Is this what bored psychopaths do in their free time? I knew I had no choice but to keep moving forward. I decided to jump to the side in an attempt to avoid any more triggers. I failed. This time, it was a bag of spiders. I screamed as they crawled all over my body. It was the most disgusting thing I've ever felt. Once I was confident that I'd gotten all of them off of me, I took a deep breath. This is for Liz, I reminded myself. You're halfway to the end of this warehouse. Keep going. My foot landed on the ground in front of me, and I let out a sigh of relief. Nothing. And then, as if on cue, the loudspeaker stopped screaming and returned to see Corral's voice. Let's shake things up a little, he said. Let's turn the lights off. No, I cried. I was doused in darkness. I couldn't even see my hand in front of my face. The screaming returned to the loudspeakers. I curled up into a fetal position and began to cry. What had I done to deserve this? Then it hit me. My phone. Not today, C. Corral, I yelled, turning on my phone's flashlight and standing up. Not today. I took a confident step forward and sighed as fake blood was poured all over my body. How did I know it was fake? It tasted like candy apples. It was from the Halloween store. Is that all you got? I yelled, as if he could hear me. The next step I took almost ended my life. A pile of sharp knives fell from the ceiling. I managed to jump back in time for them not to hit my head, but since my arm was extended because of my flashlight, a knife made a deep cut on my right wrist. I cried out in pain and watched as real blood blended with the fake blood that had just been dropped on me. I pulled off my shirt and wrapped it around my wrist. I know that wasn't the most sanitary choice, but what else was I supposed to do? I was about to pass out, but then I saw just how close I was to the doorknob. A few more steps and I'd complete the challenge. I jumped forward and dodged a large spike falling from the ceiling and opened the door. I stepped outside and began cheering. I'd won. I made it out alive, I said triumphantly. What's my last challenge? I felt a hand tap my shoulder. I turned around and saw a man with dark hair and blue eyes staring at me. He looked pissed. I knew it had to be C. Corral. Your last challenge, he began, is fighting me. I narrowed my eyes at him. Bring it on. I threw the first punch. My fist landed on his mouth and knocked out his 2 perfect front teeth. He fell backwards and landed on his ass. He went from pissed to furious in about 1 second. I could tell he wasn't expecting me to be so strong. He stood back and wiped a trickle of blood off his chin. You've really done it now, he whispered coldly. He pulled out a huge knife from his coat and aimed it at me. I remembered the bag of knives that had almost fallen on me in the warehouse. I began sprinting towards the building, desperate to get my hands on something sharp. C. Corral must have had some sort of remote to control the door because it slammed shut a few seconds before I reached it. I jiggled the doorknob, but it was no use. The door was sealed shut. I heard C. Corral's maniacal laughter getting closer and closer. What happened next definitely threw him for a loop. He charged me with the knife, and if I'm honest, almost managed to stab me in the chest. But I jumped to the side a millisecond before he hit me. I wrapped my arms around C. Corral's neck and threw him to the ground. In that moment of weakness, I was able to grab his knife, pin him to the ground, and point the knife at his face. Tell me where Liz is, I panted. Tell me or I'll stab you to death right here. C. Corral's eyes were filled with fear, an emotion I'm sure he rarely felt. Okay, you caught me. Before I tell you where Liz is, I need to say one more thing. I rolled my eyes. And what would that be? He smiled. Never let your guard down. In one swift motion, C. Corral shifted his arms down to his pants pocket and pulled out a small dagger and stabbed me in my right eye. I screamed in pain as the dagger fell from my bloody eye socket. I had him. How could I have been so stupid as to let my guard down? I stared at C. Corral with my one good eye. Not surprisingly, he was still recovering from being thrown onto the ground. He was struggling to stand up and deliver the final blow to my chest. I took the opportunity to sprint into a nearby forest and hoped that he was just as disoriented as I was. As soon as I thought I was a safe distance away from him, I fell to my knees and let the tears flow. My right eye was gone, and oh God, did it hurt. Oh, it hurt. How would I explain this to my friends and family back home? Would they ever look at me the same way? Pull yourself together, Todd, my mind screamed. You have a job to finish. I removed my shirt from my wrist and I tied it around my face, creating a makeshift eye patch. I grabbed the most jagged stick I could find and climbed a tree. I knew that C. Corral would come looking for me soon enough, and when he did, I would hop out of the tree and attack him. It was dark out, so I knew he wouldn't see me. Oh, Todd, come out, wherever you are." I heard him call in his sing-song voice. "I have Liz with me, and if you don't leave your little hiding spot within the next 5 minutes, I'll kill her." "Todd," I heard Liz cry. "Just do what he says. I know you'll win." "Liz?" I blurted out. "Are you okay?" "For now, yes," I heard her sweet, calming voice reply. "Now come defeat this son of a bitch once and for all." "I'm hurt, Liz," I replied solemnly. "I'm not sure I can win." "You can, I know you can," she replied. "Think about all the things we'll do once he's out of our lives forever. We'll get married, we'll travel the world, have kids, adopt a dog or two. You can't surrender to him." I heard C. Corral sigh. "Thank you for that truly wonderful speech, Liz. Really, I'm tearing up. Now would you let me and Todd finish our fight?" I climbed down the tree and ran towards the sound of C. Corral's voice. The worst part was that I could barely see a thing. I felt a knife pierce my stomach and I fell to the ground. C. Corral wasted no time. He stabbed me 4 times in my knees and shoulders. I think he wanted to see me suffer before he killed me. "Any last words?" he said, leaning over my body. I heard a loud crack and watched as C. Corral's body crumple to the ground. Liz was standing where he had been standing just a second ago. In her hands was a large boulder. Her wrists had broken ropes around them. She killed C. Corral with that rock. She gasped when she saw me and leaned down close to me. "Thank you," she whispered. "Oh God, you're bleeding so badly." My vision was fuzzy. I thought for sure that you would hate me after all of this. "What? Of course not," she said, pulling the cell phone out of my blood-stained pocket. "I love you, Todd. I'm gonna call 911. Hang in there, please." I don't remember much else from that night. I have a vague recollection of being lifted into a helicopter and being rushed into surgery. The real action happened early the next morning, when word of what happened to me had traveled to everybody I'd ever met, and apparently to the entire world. "What do you mean all the major news stations want to interview me?" I asked, slowly taking sips of soup. It had been a week since the fight, and I was still in pretty bad shape. As expected, my right eye had been removed, and I had thick rows of stitches on my stomach, arms, and legs. C. Corral had buried the knife into my skin, that's for sure. My doctors constantly told me how lucky I was to not be paralyzed in one of my limbs. The worst was when Liz's parents came to visit the hospital. They gave me such an intense lecture about how I should have never endangered their daughter's life and how I was the worst boyfriend she'd ever had. "She could have dated a lawyer, you know that?" her father snapped. "But she picked you for some reason." "Come on, Dad, cut him some slack," Liz pleaded. "He's suffered enough." Apparently that's what the judge thought too. Yeah, C. Corral died, but since Liz was just defending herself, she would serve no jail time. I thought for sure I was going to the slammer for using the deep web, but no. I was just forbidden from using the internet for 6 months. When I first returned home, there were paparazzi waiting at my door, trying to get a picture of me. Liz was annoyed, but I thought being famous was kinda cool. Sadly for me, my fame was short-lived, and me and my story faded into obscurity. It's been a year since the fight, and my life's pretty normal. I wake up, go to work, go home, watch TV, and go to bed. Also, you couldn't pay me to access the deep web ever again. I now entertain myself with BuzzFeed quizzes. Just kidding. I'm a hardcore Redditor. I've told some people on the website a little bit about what's happened to me, but I finally decided to tell the whole story. So yeah, every story needs an epilogue, so here's mine. All the revenue from the dumb interviews I did paid for me and Liz's wedding. So I guess that's one good thing that came out of all of this. C. Corral was apparently famous on Instagram, and his fan base still doesn't believe he did what he did. Maybe it's for the best. Liz's dad is kind of starting to warm up to me. Baby steps, you know? Most kids think I'm a pirate. I'm still not sure how to feel about that. Oh, and speaking of kids, guess what? Liz is pregnant with twin girls. I'm gonna be a dad. So yeah, I know stories on this subreddit don't usually have happy endings, but surprise, mine does. I guess the moral of the story is don't go on the deep web. And if you're anything like I was when I was younger, the story has just fueled your curiosity for the deep web. If so, that's fine, just be careful. I wasn't, and I paid a heavy toll for my actions. Thanks for reading. Stay safe. Todd. Okay, and that is the end of that story. I actually really liked the ending. Somebody actually commented on the first part and they said that they read ahead and they hated the ending, but I actually don't mind that. When they said they hated the ending, I just figured everybody died. I mean, that's what my mind always goes to. I enjoy the story, but I hope you guys enjoyed as well. If you guys have any other stories that you want me to read, go ahead and send them to me. I always have my social media linked down below, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye. I sighed. There goes my escape plan. Siri, fuck you. I sighed. There Who is this bitch screaming outside of my window right now? I need to crack my bag, but I don't know how. How do people do the thing where they like, I can't do that. Okay, see ya.